Hey, my name is Scott, and welcome to the man's mental load. The mental load. You know, isn't it funny that several years ago, the word mindfulness, and now we hear mindfulness all the time, and the mental load, that's the relatively new thing that certain creators have come up with, female creators have come up with. And not all female creators agree with this, but several have come up with the mental load. What is the mental load? The mental load refers to the invisible cognitive and emotional work required to keep a household and a family running. Remembering, planning, anticipating tasks, coordinating schedules, managing logistics, emotional labor. So there's a certain content creator that I stumbled upon the other day, and there's a lot of things I agree with her about. I agree that some men prefer to go golfing and hunting and fishing and mountain biking because they're away from the home. They get several hours away from the home and get a real break, a true break from the home. I also agree with this content creator that it's usually the woman, and I think it's society, I think it's history, I think it's culture, I think it's the way it is and the way it was, that the woman is the one who's thinking about the forms to fill out from school. She's the one thinking about if the shoes are too small, they got to get the bigger ones. She's thinking about the toilet paper. She's thinking about, oh my gosh, I got the soap and the soap's empty, and he doesn't even think about refilling the soap. And I have to agree with her. In some cases, that is true. But again, I really have to hold this content creator accountable because she married the guy. She knew this guy for years, knew him. You know, what's interesting about this content creator, she actually said that her husband's mother told her not to do the man's laundry. Okay. And then she said something like, "You used to be so fun." Until you had kids. Not two, not one. 4. Young. So that's a little background why I'm creating this channel, talk about the men's mental load. And let me just tell you this, I'll do one-on-one coaching too, just like you do, content creator, one-on-one coaching. Seems like you have a lot of free time to do videos and one-on-one coaching if you got a full-time job, but that being said, I think men need to step up. Now, I've been married 41 years, and my wife and my 2 grown children will tell you that I refill the soap dispenser, that I mop the floors, that I vacuum, that I clean bathrooms, that I helped with the kids when we were all, growing up together, all of us. And so for this content creator to basically throw her husband under the bus, and I really feel sorry for this guy. Can you imagine this guy if he's out, he's a lineman. That's his job. He's a lineman. First responder, if you will. I mean, he's out the door at 5 a.m. He's out fixing lines. He's risking his life every day for his family. He's working. He's not sitting there playing Fortnite or Minecraft. He's working. And she's expecting this guy, the school form, brush the kid's hair. Oh, we're out of toothpaste. I'm gonna help with the laundry. And listen, I'm gonna say, I think guys do need to step up. I really do. If you see the clothes in the washer, throw it in the dryer. And I'm going to be making lots of videos about this, but this is my overview video of what I want to talk about. I remember my daughter read a book years ago when she was dating boys about not settling. I forget the name of the book, but it was about not settling and how many girls settled. They grew up in a small town and, they dated the local boy and it just was, and this is before the internet. This is before dating apps, and you got to hand it to Fresh and Fit, Myron Gaines, where Myron Gaines has the ladies come in And if you haven't subscribed to Myron, do so right now. Fresh and Fit. But Myron has this little calculator thing, and he brings the women in. Okay, what do you want? I want a six-pack. I want, him making six figures, and I want him having an 800 credit score, and he's got to be 6 foot tall. He's got to have a six-pack, and when they do the calculator, it comes back to like 0.1% of guys are what this girl, with all these girls want. 6 foot, six-pack, 800 credit score, never married before, height, weight proportionate, great job, confident. Most guys don't fit in those statistics, right? But anyway, going back to this creator, who I'm not even going to mention her name, you can Google it, or you may already know it already. But I agree, yes, guys have to do better. And I'm the guy that has done better. And I know several guys that have done better. My best friend, he fixes the lunches. He picks up the kids from school. He ties their shoes. He brushes the little girl's hair. There's a lot of guys that are like this. Now, maybe she's doing this for clickbait. I was actually reading that, maybe she's doing it for clickbait, just for all these 100,000 subscribers she has. Yeah, you're right. Maybe it is clickbait, but I've got to feel sorry for the husband when he's out there on the line and you see what your wife wrote today. And I will tell you, a lot of guys don't do these things that this creator is saying to do, because no matter what we do, it's wrong. How we load the dishwasher, how we load the washing machine, how we clean the bathroom, what supplies to use. And so when guys, if you can never do it right, they're just going to throw their hands up and say, screw this. Now, let me also tell you this. My daughter also said when she was dating boys, she always looked at the relationship between the mother and the boy. Was the mother bringing the boy a sandwich? And was the mother bringing the boy the Dr. Pepper? Did the mother wait on him hand and foot? And that was a red flag to her, that if this mother is treating this boy like a kid, this 18, 19-year-old boy like a kid, and folding his laundry and doing everything, that was a red flag to her. Because she didn't want to marry a guy that, was basically mothered when the boy's 17, 18, 19, because then she would assume that responsibility. But my best friend said to me the other day, he goes, Scott, people change. When they're 18, they're a certain way. When they're 21, then when they get married, there's a certain way. And then when they have kids, so people change. Content creator I'm talking about. So yes, when you knew this boy since what, the 8th grade? I forget what you said on your channel. You've known this boy since the 8th grade. You talked to the mother, his mother, and the mother says don't do. So you had all this stuff down. You knew. But you didn't take into account, content creator, that people change, and especially after you have kids. Now you have more responsibility, right? Brushing the kids' hair, taking them to the dentist, they're sick. And then this content creator throwing guys under the bus about the man cold, how horribly sick we get. Oh God, we can't do anything. And about rest, that the man needs to be on the couch and totally rest without responsibility to kids, while the mother has to keep going and going and going and going and going. So anyway, let's talk about the man's mental load for a minute, okay? What has society told men? To provide, to be honorable, to be faithful, bring home the paycheck, don't, be, going and gambling your money away, and being faithful, and coming home at night. And this content creator, just doesn't understand the difference between men and women, where, I'll tell you, as myself growing up, my mom would say, clean up your room and do this and do that. And when I got married, I didn't want to marry my mother. I didn't. I wanted somebody, we could work together. Now, this content creator also talks about equity. It's got to be equitable. So tit for tat, and everybody, and listen, I think everybody should pull on the same rope to help with the family. But this content creator does not get, has she read Men, Mars, Venus, Women, that book? We're all wired different. And it's kind of interesting, as she's throwing her husband and men under the bus. I wanted to get a divorce a couple of years ago. Well, you know what? Maybe you should have. If you're holding this guy to this kind of a standard and he can't meet it, take the house, take the money, take the kids, do your little YouTube channel, TikTok, and make 50, 100 grand a month and be happy. But then guess what? You're going to have to still do it yourself unless you get a nanny. So anyway, stay tuned for more information here. Man's mental load. I'm going to share my views, and I'm going to hold this content creator accountable for what she's doing. She's stirring up women. She's getting women upset, and it's not good for the men. I think women should help the man. Men get married to work with somebody. Let's work together. And the Bible even talks about it. The man would rather be on the side of a house and in a home with a nagging, complaining, fault-finding woman. And this content creator, who's going to remain nameless, I feel sorry for her. I think she's absolutely miserable. I know her husband must be miserable every day. She's posting stuff about how bad he is and what he doesn't do. And I actually messaged her. I said, can you do a video of one thing your husband does right? Can you be grateful for the stuff your husband does? And that's what this has prompted me to do on this channel. Ladies, be thankful for what he does do. Quit looking at things he doesn't do. And men, I encourage you to be like me. If you see the soap dish half empty, fill it up. If you see the laundry, throw the stuff from the washer to the dryer. Guys, you may not want to do laundry because no matter how you do it, it's going to be wrong. You're going to use too much laundry detergent. You're going to mix the whites and the darks. So maybe it's better because you just don't want to fight. So anyway, man's mental load. Man's mental load. Not low, but like braid load. Load. This is Scott. Have a great day.